Oh,
All right, so Google My Business for Realtors best practices. So I have Lizzie on here from All American Title, and she is a rock star and an expert on this. So she is going to be going through this. The reason why I wanted to do this is I just came from Vegas from a training for realtors, and the timing is like perfect, Lizzie, because literally I went to a whole hour training on Google My Business. Because here's the thing, guys, for buyers and sellers, they're Googling us. They might not always be finding our Instagram or, Facebook, which we spend a lot of time doing, or even my YouTube, right? They're Googling us and seeing. So to spend time and make sure your Google is maximized is very strategic, and not a lot of people are doing it. So I'm hoping that you can tell us best practices and things that we can do. And I also wanted to throw this out there to any of our partners. I met someone, his name is Michael, and he does this for a living for people. So I actually have Allie sitting behind me, who I've hired, right, to help with my social but there's still things, even for my business, how much time we do this, that they've pointed out to me that I can do better. So I've actually hired them, and this might sound like a lot, it's $1,000, but there's so much that you can do. This can be lead gen, right? So either do it yourself, and find ways to do it, or you can hire someone too. But we're going to talk about things. Lizzie, I'll let you take it from here. You tell us, Google My Business, what can we do to show up better?
okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Kelly. And I'm excited because today my goal is to teach you guys like tangible tips and tricks with Google, because like Kelly said, Google is not getting tapped into as much as like Instagram and Facebook and different social media platforms. There's a whole Google world out there, and studies show that people aren't even getting to your website page unless your Google My Business page is up and running and the most accurate. So what I will say is most people know Google My Business is where there is like maps and information. And so if you don't have a page, first off, right, as soon as we get done with the Zoom, go make sure you get a page and claim it right away, because claiming can take some time, because they'll like send you a postcard. Is that really your address, along those lines? But from there on out, we have gathered, it's about an hour and a half total to set up if you did it straight or while working. So the beauty of Google My Business is you guys have complete control over it, but it looks authoritative to your customer, right? They think that Google has put all of this together and is branding your page, but you are in control of it, and it is absolutely free. So I'm going to kind of dive in here. I'm going to share my screen. I'll go back and forth here so you can see me as well. And let me know if this... There we go. Awesome. Okay. So the first thing that you guys need to do is kind of what you mentioned to me, or what I mentioned earlier, is get your Google My Business page and claim it. The next thing you need to do is make sure your pictures are on there. You want to, if you don't have a good professional photo, which I think all of you do, but if you don't, make sure like put your logo in there, but not only your picture on there, because no one wants to see like when they Google the van going across the street of like the building, right? Like you got to have your picture on there, but make sure you have pictures of your customers. So of things in front of sold signs, in front of like at the closing table, maybe even like, a selfie while doing a walkthrough. The more pictures and posts you put on there, the better, because Google, the more you give to Google, Google gives back to you. And this can be all organic. And the best part of it is that it is absolutely free. Okay, so the next piece is make sure your description on there in everything is the most accurate. So not only like your address, but the hours that you serve and the locations that you do. So why I am stressing about this right now is if you are a professional in the Blaine, I'm in our Blaine office today. So if you are like, more farming the Blaine area, right? Put that information on there. Don't put that you service the Midwest, because it may not be realistic for you, that you're not going to go to Edina and do that showing because you're focusing in the Blaine or Northern Metro area, right? So put that on there so they have those understanding expectations, or Twin Cities Metro or St. Paul or counties, whatnot. So it specializes you and makes you stand out different and know that you're the expert within that area. And then the other suggestion is what I would say is the hours. The real estate agents, I think, should put 24 hours. Now, unless you are like, instead of like having, I'm here from 9 to 5. Now, everyone can have their own boundaries of whatever that looks like. So maybe that is like, you're going to put 7 to 9 p.m. at night, but realistically, no one's going to be Googling you and calling you at 2 a.m.
I would be putting like all hours. I would make sure it's opened up, whether you're checking it or not. Yeah. But it is good to have boundaries. That's a really good point. I work 24/7, but I think it's pretty important. What if somebody's searching you at night, which is what they're doing a lot of times, right? And then they can't send you something. So I would make sure it's opened up. I like that.
Yep, 24/7. And then I'll talk to too, is a lot of people I don't think know or recognize this, but Google has features of that they can message, like someone can look at you and then message you through Google immediately. And if you get the Google app, it'll go to you. And that is like your lead, right? That's like to get, because they might not have gone on your website to even check you out or social media wise, right? So it is important to get all that information first set. And like I said, pictures, because people want to see who they're working with and who it's you. It's just like social media posts, right? The more you do of pictures, the better that the quality and people like the posts. The next piece I'm going to stress on is reviews. So unfortunately, what we have gathered in our research and information is you need to make sure you have a lot of reviews, good or bad. Bad's okay. And I'll kind of dive into that. But if you only have 2 reviews, that person is going to associate you've only done 2 homes. And that's not necessarily true, right? So go to your partners, go to your team, go to the title company you're working with, your mortgage partners, and ask them to review you. And then for your clients per se, it's a tip or trick to use is as soon as you're done with the closing, like text them your Google link, text them the picture that you had at the closing, and ask them to leave a review for you. Make it easy for them, right? So they can just click the link, type it, upload the pictures. Because the more reviews you get, the more Google knows that you are invested into them, and then they will continue to, and that you're bringing value to your customers, and they'll continue to increase your SEO and make sure you are the first person that like reaches out to that they can see.
Okay, so I want to add something to this. I love this. So what the training that I was just on said, you need to have a minimum of 25 reviews. So get 25, don't get overwhelmed, but get 25 and ask your clients, obviously, to do it. One thing that's different about Google, guys, is anyone, and she just gave you a bunch of examples, anyone can go on and review you. Like, obviously, I would make sure it's legitimate and, not like whatever, but anyone can go on and give you a Google review. So get creative about it. I don't know, but make sure you have 25.
Yeah, like use your inspector, use the handyman or the your referrals that you're giving out to your clients or that you're partnering with. Have them do that. They're going to be happy to. And then not only that, I would suggest too, is if you receive reviews on a lot of other platforms, let's say your client reviews you on Zillow, take that link, take that review, copy and paste it, send the link. If you have a picture, great, and say, hey, thank you so much for leaving this review on Zillow. Absolutely love working with you. Could you do this for me? Copy and paste and do this on Google. Not only that they will do it, but then it's another great touch point to reach out to your clients just in case, once they buy or sell again, you're top of mind.
I think that's so important. I always hate bugging people, but I would say the first thing, we do ask people a week actually before closing to give us a review. And the one place we ask them first is Google. I want it on Google first and foremost, but then I'll come back and I'll say, hey guys, we make it really easy. I copy and paste it on the emails, or any way you can go on Facebook and copy and put it on there. So like you could do the reverse of it too. There are some people that will send things. You guys can get creative, send something in the mail, like, a little caribou, thank you for the review. Once they've reviewed you once, and then you come back and say, hey, would you mind copying and pasting? I always hate to put people out, but I think there's a creative way to do it. And if you let people know how much it matters in this business, because it matters a lot, they usually do it for you.
And also a note is if you have people like, for example, here at All American Title, we have to use Microsoft Edge and the default browser is Bing. I don't use Bing. I'm a Google gal, but some people and like some of the older folks use Bing. There is a way to get them to do like have that merge with Google. So after this meeting, if you guys want, I have a whole worksheet on how to sync Bing and Google reviews. So if you want that, I'm happy to provide that to anyone. Okay, this is going to sound silly, but like review etiquette, like it is, you know, make sure you are also commenting. Once again, Google, the more you give to Google, the more they give back to you. So make sure you're saying thank you for the good reviews, and the bad ones, do not delete it. Never delete them. Google doesn't like that. They want it to make sure that you are authentic and that people can see the whole you. So if you have a bad review, also comment on that, you know, take it as like a learning lesson or say, oh, thank you so much for that feedback. Can I give you a call to discuss whatnot? Because if you delete it, Google goes, oh, that person isn't really bringing value. They don't like it. And that's how then your SEO can go down.
Yeah.
So I know
and
it's silly.
it's a hard lesson. And obviously if you get a bad review, you got to deal with it, but it is real and people want to see real. But here's the thing, like, what do you think? If you have 50 reviews and you have one bad, you know, everyone's going to that bad one. So, but I will say I got a bad review recently for cold soup because I served cold soup and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All of a sudden that was bringing my thing down. So we did fight it and we got that removed because obviously that was not for me.
Yes.
But I will say, yeah. So, I mean, but that happens in, yeah, no cold soup here. Yes. Okay. So good point.
Yep. So, and then the other piece of it is, so this is something that no one is utilizing in the real estate industry that I think is great. And like you guys can do it immediately, is not only getting reviews, but giving reviews. And the reason why I mentioned this is important is so Google has a thing called local guide. Okay. And so local guides are, you have to sign up for it through your Google My Business. And once you go to like the restaurants or to other, whatever you review, you get points. And if you do this in your area, so once again, blame, if I went to the local coffee shop and reviewed it and then through like this local guide and continuing to do that, then what happens is they give you a badge and you look like the local expert in that area. So if you are like, once again, if your area is blame and you start doing this by giving reviews, then when someone Googles Lizzie Kondravi and you know, I'm real estate agent in Blaine area, right? Then it'll have a big badge that's saying I'm the local expert in Blaine, which adds an arrow to your quiver, right? Of like, you look like you know everything about that, you know, the school district, you know where to send them to the hardware store, whatnot. And no one, I'm telling you, in the industry is using this because I'm Google a lot of folks. So I would say give review, you know, get reviews, give reviews, and to make yourself be a local guide and an expert in that area. The next piece, so the most important, like we kind of went, is photos, getting it set up, photos. Next piece is reviews. And then the next piece is the post. So Google My Business can offer, you can post on there. And my suggestion is what you are posting on your social media platforms should get posted on Google, because there's a whole different crowd, lead generating people who are only using Google as a platform, right? So what I'm kind of dive in here and go a little bit is ahead of time is, so here is what, so this is All American Titles and you can see, but here is what, once you log into Google My Business, what it looks like. And so you can see, like, you can gather your insights, comment on the reviews, messages and calls. We'll dive into this, but here are where the posts are. And in the post section, what you should do is go into, they have different ones of like COVID updates, what news, events. So you could even do, if you wanted to do your open houses under events, that when someone Googles you, it'll show that you have an open house that weekend there. But most of like the social media piece that you would put on both is to go under the what's new. But then, so this is kind of what I was talking about is here's the what's new. You can add your video and photos. You can write your posts on it. And then what's cool is you can add this button. And in the button, it can be anything from like, learn more, your phone number, your website, maybe even like a Zoom link or a Calendly link if you have those that you can add on there. And then you can see on the right-hand side, this is what All American titles, what the posts look like. So when you look at them, it'll have like our picture, then all the reviews and all the posts. You know that I'm not trying to sound redundant, but the more you give back to Google and you do these things, the more they give to you, meaning that you will show up. If you put Realtor Blaine and you have all this content, they're going to put your SEO way up there on the landing page compared to someone who's not doing this.
And I love that. And I think that's so strategic because how many calls do we get as realtors? Do you want to pay $100 a month to go to the top? Do you want to pay? But instead just do it authentically and have it as part of, I mean, you're saying to post this. So if you're posting on Facebook, if you're posting on Instagram, have this be your next thing. You're already posting there, post it there as well. I love that.
Yeah, because my goal is this, you set this up for an hour and a half, and then it's just monitoring it. Then you're just adding a few minutes of copying and pasting into Google, right? That you're already doing on all your social media platforms. And then the next cool piece that Google has is the feature of Google My Business that people aren't utilizing as well is the question and answers feature. You probably may see this a lot if you Google restaurants. People might do this, but I would say encourage your partners to ask questions on there because it does show their name, right? So like you can't, like Kelly Brown can't ask Kelly Brown a question. It'll show that. And so that won't be authentic. But, if Lizzie Kondravi asked Kelly Brown can you explain to me what a quitclaim deed is or whatnot of what it looks like? Kelly can answer that. And then it looks like not only she is more of an expert, right? Like you're an expert into your field, you are knowledge, you're full with this information. So if you have a lot of like maybe common questions of like first time home buyers, or something along those lines that come up into your business daily, put that on there and then answer that because then you just continue to look like an expert in your field. Additional features that they have that they've opened up to that this is new and not people are using. And I think this is also the beauty of what happened with starting with TikTok is now Google has videos. So you can do videos of walkthroughs of the home. You can do videos of like, come on my training this week. You can do videos of introducing, hi, my name is Lizzie Kondravi, kind of why you should work with me. And then the next piece is the messaging feature. I kind of hit about this earlier is now someone can direct. So like, let's say it is 2 a.m. They wake up, they're looking at homes, they Google you and come across you. They can message you in there and say, hey, Kelly, I'm interested, looking for a new home in the Plymouth area. Do you have can you help me out or whatnot? And then if you do have to have the Google app on your phone to get it or log in every day to Google My Business, but to have it the most accurate time, like a text message. And then it comes to you and then you'll be able to respond. And it's another way to lead generate. And then the last piece is what I think is really important to do is you can add business labels. And so if someone is Googling women-led business, a women-led team, women-led realtor, that'll come up. If you add that label, you will come up first into that. Or if you do like top 4% realtor in Minnesota, if you add that business label, if someone's Googling top realtor in Minnesota, you will come up into that. That's how the SEO works and getting in front. So make sure you're adding your business labels and that also is what your brand is, right? So create, as you have your brand there, whatever those hot buttons are, make sure you add that in there.
Hey, I love that. Lizzie, can I back up for a second, ask you a question about the questions on there? So people can reach out and ask you questions. Do I remember right that you can also put questions on there and answer them?
So that's where, so you can do that, but it will come up as your name. And so that's why that's why I was saying like, like say, Lizzie, can you ask this question and I'll type it in for you to answer because it will come up like Kelly Brown asked this question and Kelly Brown answered the question.
Can I
Okay, I
chime
hear you.
in
So let me
super
ask you
quick?
this. We get a lot of the same questions, right? So maybe we could, figure out like the top 5 questions I get asked and then do that. But the way to do it then would have someone else ask the question and then I
Yeah.
answer. Is that kind of right?
Yep. And then what I would do
Okay.
also too is create a blog and the posts out of that through Google, and you can save that on there, right? So that can be one of your posts of like top 5 questions on there. You can ask your partners to do it, but then you can also create a post or a blog into Google that then, because that also goes all underneath the Google My Business. So you can do that as well. Great question.
You can
Okay,
do
so
it
I'm gonna ask
under
you one more.
frequently asked questions too.
I like that. And I'm going to ask you something about the blog. Is that a different blog into Google? Okay, so we do our own blogs, but then we post our blog stuff to Google. Is that a separate place to post? Is there a blog for Google, or do you just post it as a post?
Nope, you post it as, sorry, great question. Sorry. Yeah, you post it as a post. It used to be separate. It used to have, they had their own blogs, and then the blog would only last for, I think it was when it originally started, it was only for a week. So you would have to continuously to do it. Now you can pop it under the post feature.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, so additional features that also, oh yeah, we went through the labels and things like that. Okay, this is the next piece. I have, because I spoke to a Google expert out of this, and a lot of people ask, are ads worth it? And the answer is no. Google doesn't care. You can spend a lot of money on Google for ads and not get the results you are looking for, because that's just, they're happy to take your money, but it doesn't make a difference into the SEO searching. What does is giving organically to the Google My Business, which is also free, of doing the posts, getting the reviews, making sure your hours are up to date, attaching your website, those, putting the tags on there, the area you're in, switching that up. And if you are continuing to get regularly reviews or doing regularly posts, because Google likes that, oh, you're active, you're bringing value, we're going to continue to put you as number 1, compared to like if you buy Google ads, that doesn't get you up to being number 1. They don't care. They just take your money. So that's
So way more important to show up authentically and post on here than paying money to run ads.
yeah. And it's free. This is free. Like this is all free. And they giving them the money, giving Google the money, they don't care. They just are like, oh, well, thanks for the money. So I was kind of, because we did that here at All American Title, we like experimented with ads and we were like, gosh, we're not seeing any bang for our buck. And then I met with a Google expert and they were like, oh yeah, no, Google doesn't care about that. It's about how much you invest into your page. So I know I kind of gave a lot to you guys here, but I kind of just want to go over kind of the top things that we discussed today. Is this can be done at any time. It can be convenient. You can do it on your phone. I will say it is easier to do on a PC. But we did, it does take about an hour and a half to fully get it set up, but it is in your control, and people don't recognize or realize that when a Google My Business is in your control, they think Google is, owns that, right? And so you can customize it and create it as much as you want. And they are always continuing to put new features out. Like they just started the video of the marketing, and the average person is going to Google to look at you before they even get to your website. So if your Google My Business page isn't up and running, what we are seeing is they're not even getting to the website to get to know you and more of your brand, or going on your social, because you've already lost them. So, and Google wants people to stay on Google. So they're going to continue to add more features and continue to give more to folks. And all they ask in return is that you are continuously active and continuously keeping up to date by posting and along those lines. And if you do that, your SEO will continue to rise or stay at number 1. If as soon as you start dropping, that's when and someone else is doing it, that's when you drop down.
go. I love that. So I just wanted to like reiterate. So you're saying if somebody isn't on here, take an hour and a half and set yourself up, right? And what I remember, guys, is there's a postcard that comes to you and you got to do that first. So if you haven't done it, go on there. I can't even remember how you do it, but register yourself and you will get a postcard and make sure your address has to come to you. So some of you guys are using like whatever address, if you're using your office address and they're not good about getting you mail or whatever it is, you have to have that postcard or it slows you down. So make sure you're going on there and get that postcard right away. And then you can spend the hour and a half and, you know, and do that.
Correct.
I also just wanted to say, as we're going through here, like I run a team, we have, you know, a team of 10 women. So if you're a team or you're an individual, I encourage my team, like this is, yes, I'm doing it for me and I'm doing it for my team, but individually, it's very important for all my girls to go on there and individually do it for themselves, individually be asking for reviews and all that stuff. So important. So if you are someone on a team, make sure you're still doing this for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there any questions that anyone may have that have came up when I have brought up this information? I'm happy to help out too after this in any way, or have Kelly give anything to Kelly, you know, of the information I provided too. Or a
Yep,
little
so if
summary.
you guys ever want to reach out to her, so Lizzie, All American Title, maybe even Lizzie, you can put it in the chat just so people can contact you. And if you don't have a Rockstar title company and you need one, I've been using them for years and years, and that's after trial and error of other companies. They're very, very good. So I definitely recommend them. So any questions before we log off, guys? Well, Lizzie, I'm just going to thank you very much. Let's be in contact on the next one. Thank you for being on here. Google my business, get on there, spend some time. It's strategic and it matters. Buyers and sellers are looking at all of us usually on Google before they hire us. So make sure you're on there. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Awesome. Thank you.